Welcome to the Met Office 10-day trends. Some wintry weather to talk about, but only in the very short term. Here's what's going on at the moment. So we've got a cold front slowly pushing its way southwards, not particularly active, but it will reintroduce the colder air across the south, where it's been quite mild for the past couple of days at least. And then we have this area of low pressure, which is heading southwards in the cold air, bringing some moisture, and so it will bring some significant snow. And as the isobars pinch together, some strong winds through Wednesday night and Thursday, especially across parts of Scotland, but it could also turn icy across northern Britain. So we do have Met Office yellow weather warnings in place. Not going to go into the details of those here. This is the 10-day trend, but if you want more, check out our app or our website. As that low then scoots away, a chunky area of high pressure moves in, and that will calm things down for Friday and ease the winds down overnight, which will allow a frost to form. And if you like your winter's days to be full of blue skies and crisp sunshine, then Friday looks like a cracker. Yes, it'll be cold and frosty to start with, but for most of us, it'll be blue skies for much of the day. There is the likelihood of some rain later on overnight and into the weekend, and that brings more of a change into the weekends with spells of wet and windy weather across the UK, likely through Saturday, and then another one on Sunday, although the details of Sunday's wet and windy weather are somewhat uncertain at this stage, as we'll see in just a moment. But let's take a look at the big picture then, because that high pressure bringing the fine Friday does scoot away. And then we've got a kind of classic low pressure up to the northwest. Weather fronts moving in, bringing wet and windy weather, although probably not much rain to eastern England for most of daylight hours on Saturday. And then it's this little feature cuddling up from the southwest that's bringing the uncertainty, but also another bout of wet and windy weather on Sunday. But the details of exactly where, exactly when, how much rain and how strong the winds are, well, they're open to some doubt at this stage. We're talking 4 or 5 days ahead, of course. Why the uncertainty? Well, for that, let's rewind the clock and see where this low is coming from out in the Atlantic, a wriggling, waving weather front that's going to interact with the jet stream, that fast-moving ribbon of air high up in the atmosphere that's getting invigorated by what's going on across North America. Some very cold air is driving south here. Temperatures across northern Alaska are down to -48 on Wednesday morning, and the cold air from Alaska is pushing southwards across Canada, down across the Great Lakes. All the while, the warmth of the tropics remains in place, and it's the contrast between this very cold air and the warm air that helps to generate more active jet stream. It really peps up when we've got these big contrasts going on. It peps up, but it also complicates things. We kind of have the jet stream almost split in two as we go through the weekends, generated by that cold plunge across the United States. And that affects just how we see a ripple in the jet stream that picks up our low pressure for the UK on Sunday. So that's why there's uncertainty, because of what's going on across the United States, and this kind of split, complicated jet, and exactly how it kinks will determine where this low pressure system goes. The Met Office model has quite a deep area of low pressure heading its way across Ireland. But if we compare that to the European model, well, it's still got the low pressure, and it's not a huge difference considering we're talking about 4 or 5 days ahead and there's all that complication with the jet stream. But it would make quite a big difference to the weather if the low is in this position closer to northern France. It wouldn't be quite as windy across the UK, and the rain wouldn't be as widespread. So, as I said, wet and windy spell for Sunday across parts of the UK, but details of exactly how much and exactly when we see the wettest and windiest weather still open to doubt. So if you've got plans for Sunday, stay up to date with the forecast. Beyond that, well, that low does look like it's going to scoot away. It may be further south compared to this chart, but it will bring a mixture of sunshine and showers for most of us on Monday. And then the broader picture kind of tells the story for next week. Low pressure systems out in the Atlantic waiting to head our way. And of course, now the jet stream's been invigorated by that cold plunge coming south across the United States. So we're going to have an active jet stream through Monday, but also beyond that as well. It looks like we're going to keep this fairly active jet stream and more south shifted jet stream compared to recent weeks. So this is the European projection for the jet stream on Wednesday. Quite a strong core there with winds close to 200 miles an hour. Nothing exceptional about that, but it is something we haven't seen much of so far this winter. As I said, crucially, it's more south shifted, which means the low pressure systems are more likely to be right across the UK, more of a direct hit, if you like. So that all adds up to pretty unsettled conditions throughout next week. Low pressure systems much more likely to dominate, and that's backed up by this chart, which is the most likely pressure regime charts. The dates going forward along the bottom here. Probabilities up here, up to 100%, of course, where blue is low pressure, the yellows and oranges high pressure. So Friday, little ridge of high pressure, yes, a fine sunny day, but most of next week going to be dominated by low pressure systems and probably pretty active low pressure systems because of that strong jet. But with our weather likely then to be coming in from the west, it's also likely to be pretty mild next week. This is the temperature projections for Stoke-on-Trent, but I could have chosen almost anywhere. And the red blobs are the maximum temperatures. That red line is the average temperature. So a bit of a dip as things turn a little chillier on Friday, but then it is likely to stay mild with temperatures above average for much of next week. And that's because our weather is being influenced by the Atlantic westerly winds, keeping those temperatures above average, but also bringing the moisture off the Atlantic. And with deep areas of low pressure at times, we are also likely to see some fairly strong winds. So mild, often wet and windy kind of sums up next week at this stage, thanks to that strengthening jet stream. As I said, we do have Met Office warnings in place. For details of those, check out our YouTube channels, but also the app and the website. And make sure you're following us for the day-to-day details throughout next week by following us right across social media.